morning, good afternoon, or good evening, my beautiful hot messes. My name is Mistress Lavender, and today I'm reading 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. I am on page 11 where we left off. Before we begin, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and obviously turn your post notifications on. And remember to read something every day. Pick up a book, learn some words, have some fun. I don't know exactly where we left off, so I'm going to start at the Astonished. Let's begin. The astonished generals realized that instead of a life of anxiety and struggle, Sun was offering them riches and security. The next day, all of the generals tendered their resignations and they retired as nobles to the estates that Sun bestowed on them. In one stroke, Sun turned a pack of friendly wolves, who had likely have betrayed him, into a group of docile lambs, far from all power. Over the next few years, Sun continued his campaign to secure his rule. In AD 971, King Lu of the southern Han finally surrendered to him after years of rebellion. To Lu's astonishment, Sun gave him a rank in the imperial court and invited him to the palace to seal their newfound friendship with wine. As King Lu took the glass that Sun offered him, he hesitated, fearing it contained poison. "Your subjects' crimes certainly merit death," he cried out, "but I beg your majesty to spare your subject's life. Indeed, I dare not drink this wine." Emperor Sung laughed, took the glass from Lao, and swallowed it himself. There was no poison. From then on, Lu became his most trusted and loyal friend. At the time, China had splintered into many smaller kingdoms. When Chai Shun, the king of one of those, was defeated, Sun's ministers advised the emperor to lock this rebel up. They presented documents proving that he was still conspiring to kill Sung. When Chai Su came to visit the emperor, however, instead of locking him up, Sung honored him. He also gave him a package, which he told the former king to open when he was halfway home. Shang Shu opened the bundle on his return journey and saw that it contained all the paper documents documenting his conspiracy. He realized that Sung knew of his murderous plans, yet had spared him nonetheless. This generosity won him over, and he too became one of Sung's most loyal vassals. Interpretation. A Chinese proverb compares friends to the jaws and teeth of a dangerous animal. If you are not careful, you will find them chewing you up. Emperor Sung knew the jaws he was passing between when he assumed the throne. His friends in the army would chew him up like meat, and if he somehow survived, his friends in the government would have him for supper. Emperor Sung would have no truck with friends. He bribed his fellow generals with splendid estates and kept them far away. This was a much better way to emasculate them than killing them, which would only have led other generals to seek vengeance. And Sung would have nothing to do with friendly ministers. More often than not, they would end up drinking his famous cup of poisoned wine. Instead of relying on friends, Sung used his enemies, one after the other, transferring men into far more reliable subjects. While a friend expects more and more favors and sees with jealousy, these former enemies expected nothing and got everything. A man suddenly spared the guillotine is a grateful man indeed, and will go to the ends of the earth for the man who had pardoned him. In time, these former enemies became Sung's most trustful friends, and Sung was finally able to break the pattern. Of coups, violence, and civil war. The Sung dynasty ruled China for more than 300 years. In a speech Abraham Lincoln delivered at the height of the Civil War, he referred to the Southerners as fellow human beings who were in error. An elderly lady chastised him for not calling them irreconcilable enemies who must be destroyed. "Why, madam," Lincoln replied, "do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends?" Period. Keys to power. It is natural to want to employ your friends when you find yourself in times of need. The world is a harsh place, and your friends soften the hardness. Besides, you know them. Why depend on a stranger when you have a friend at hand? The problem is that you often do not know your friends as well as you imagine. Friends often agree on things in order to avoid an argument. They cover up their unpleasant qualities so as to not offend each other. They laugh extra hard at each other's jokes, since honesty rarely strengthens friendship. You may never know how a friend truly feels. Friends will say they love your poetry, adore your music, envy your taste in clothes because they mean it. Often, maybe they mean it. Often, they do not. When you decide to hire a friend, you gradually discover the qualities he or she has kept hidden. Strangely enough, it is your act of kindness that unbalances everything. People want to feel they deserve their good fortune. The receipt of a favor can become apprehensive. It means you have been chosen because you are a friend, not necessarily because you are deserving. There is also a touch of condensation. Condescension in the act of hiring friends that secretly afflicts them. The injury will come out slowly. A little more honesty, flashes of resentment and envy here and there. And before you know it, your friendship fades. The more favors and gifts you supply to revive the friendship, the less gratitude you receive. Ingratitude has a long and deep history. That's a word, ingratitude. English, come on. It has demonstrated its powers for so many centuries. That is truly amazing that people continue to underestimate them. Better to be wary. If you never expect gratitude from a friend, you will be pleasantly surprised when they prove grateful. The problem with using or hiring friends is the problem with using or hiring friends is that it will inevitably limit your power. The friend is rarely the one who is most able to help you. And in the end, skill and competence are far more important than friendly feelings. Michael III had a man right under his nose who would have steered him right and kept him alive. That was Barbas. All working situations require a kind of distance between people. You are trying to work, not make friends. Friendliness, real or fake, only obscures the fact. The key to power, then, is the ability to judge who is best able to further your interests in all situations. Keep friends for friendships, but work with the skilled and competent. Your enemies, on the other hand, are an untapped gold mine that you must learn to exploit. When Talleyrand, Napoleon's former minister, decided in 1807 that his boss was leading France to ruin and the time had come to turn against him, he understood the dangers of conspiring against the emperor. He needed a partner, a confederate. What friend could he trust in such a project? He chose Joseph Fouché, head of the secret police, his most hated enemy, a man who had even tried to have him assassinated. He knew that their former hatred would create an opportunity for an emotional reconciliation. He knew that Fouché would expect nothing from him, and in fact would work to prove that he was worthy of Talleyrand's choice. A person who has something to prove will move mountains for you. Finally, he knew that his relationship with Fouché would be based on mutual self-respect or mutual self-interest and would not be contaminated by personal feeling. The selection proved perfect. Although the conspirators did not succeed in toppling Napoleon, the union of such powerful but unlikely partners generated much interest in the cause. Opposition to the emperor slowly began to spread, and from then on, Talleyrand and Fouché had a fruitful working relationship. Whenever you can, bury the hatchet with an enemy and make a point of putting him in your service. As Lincoln said, you destroy an enemy when you make a friend of him. In 1917, during the Vietnam War, Henry Kissinger was the target of an unsuccessful kidnapping attempt, a conspiracy involving, among others, the renowned anti-war activist the Barrington brothers, 4 more Catholic priests, and 4 nuns. In private, without informing the Secret Service or the Justice Department, Kissinger arrived on a Saturday morning meeting with the 3 alleged kidnappers, explaining to his guests that he would have the most American soldiers out of Vietnam by mid-1972. He completely charred them. They gave him some kidnapper Kistner buttons, and one of them remained a friend of his for years, visiting him on several occasions. This was not just a one-time ploy. Kisner made a policy of working with those who disagreed with him. Colleagues commented that he seemed to get along better with his enemies than with his friends. Without enemies around us, we grow lazy, period. And an enemy at our heels sharpens our wits, keeping us focused and alert. It is sometimes better than to use enemies as enemies rather than transforming them into friends. My back is hurting. Bob's to read though. Mao Tse saw conflict as key in his approach to power. In 1937, the Japanese invaded China, interrupting the civil war between Mao communists and their enemies, the nationalists. Fearing that the Japanese would wipe them all out, some communist leaders advocated leaving. Not you just looking at my belly. Oh, where am I? I think I'm gonna stop there. Where am I? Oh, some communist leaders advocated leaving the nationalists to fight the Japanese and using the time to recuperate. Mao disagreed. The Japanese could not possibly defeat and occupy the vast country like China for long. Once they left, the communists would have grown rusty if they had been out of combat for several years, and would be ill-prepared to reopen their struggle with the nationalists. To fight a formidable foe like the Japanese, in fact, would be the perfect training for the communist ragtag army. Mao's plan was the perfect training for the communist ragtag army. Mao's plan was adopted, and it worked. By the time the Japanese finally retreated, the communists had gained the fighting experience that helped them defeat the nationalists. Years later, a Japanese visitor tried to apologize to Mao for his country's invasion of China. Mao interrupted. "Should I not thank you instead?" Without a worthy opponent, he explained, a man or a group cannot grow stronger. I'll stop there. I'm starting on page 14. I know on this book I'm not reading like a lot. The other books I would read like per chapter or per like couple pages, like 10 pages. But it's just a lot of words. Oh, so technically a page in this is like 2 pages. So technically I read a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna stop there, page 14. And I'm gonna start the next episode at Mouse Strategy. But the good thing is I'm almost done with this law. Almost done with law 2. I could finish it, but you know, let's give some time to read. And I really like this. I think it's just definitely good to read, especially a word with big, especially a book with big words. I don't know why I choose to read so late. I'm so tired, but hey, we're reading every day because that's what we do. Education, words, reading. Who would have thought? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I know I feel good. Like, it feels good to read. I'll help you reading. I'll help you educating your mind. Read a book that challenges you to look up the words. Like, don't be prideful by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can be like, oh, yeah, I know this word. You don't. You don't know the word. Look it up. Google it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm pick some words that I messed up on, Google it, and make a video, and then post it. That's how we learn. That's how we get better. So have a great day, and make sure to follow me, because I know it's best for you. And you just love to hear my voice, because honestly, one day I might be a voice actor. You might hear me saying, ciao. I don't know. But I'm still going to post this, so whatever. You watched it, so you like my content, you know? We know.